Do you think, and maybe this is a more better question, do you think that the institutional capacity or the decline of it rather was a deliberate process rather than a gradual neglect? And more specifically, whose interests do you think it serves if we have a SAPS that is weak?
I guess it was deliberate. I guess it was deliberate. As I've mentioned, you know, the structures that were there were dismantled. Both the operational and the managerial structures were really messed up. So whose interest was it? I wouldn't know. But I could also say it did look like it was across the justice system rather than the police alone. The NPA was changed. Some people they were thrown out of the NPA. Some are sitting here who were thrown out of the NPA. Not only that, even in the state security apparatus, people that were there were thrown out. People that you know that they were doing the good job, they're thrown out. Whose interest will be, maybe that's a story to find one day why. But you ask me if it was accident, I would say no.
Okay, and you don't have an opinion on why this would be. And I understand it would be your opinion, but you haven't done any digging, and you are a senior member in, you know, both a political party, and you've been serving in government for a very, very long time. So when you see this, I'm sure you would have had some discussions or applied your mind. And I understand that this would just be your take on it, not necessarily that was the case.
Well, the opinion is that if I come, I want to steal, and I know that you have a bulldog, having a chance, I'll take the teeth out of the bulldog so that I do things proper. So maybe somebody was taking teeth out of the bulldog so that can do things the way you want.
And who do you think that was?
Those that were leading.
Who was leading at that time?
Well, Zuma was the president at the time.
So it was under the Zuma administration. What was... So I guess you've answered this also already, because you're saying that there was also increased political interference during that period, and that contributed largely to the deliberate institutional capacity decline within SAPS. Can we say that?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. One of the reasons you said you were removed, former minister, was that you refused to take illegal or improper instructions. So I want to talk a little bit about the Marikana massacre, because it happened during that period. So if you were still the national commissioner during that period when the Marikana workers were protesting for a living wage, and then we had the ANC deputy president, Cyril Ramaphosa, that was all over, meeting ministers and calling for pointed action. How would you have responded to the protests of the Marikana workers?
Well, I would be saying this time and again, sometimes I sound arrogant. If I were there, they would not have a Marikana. I sound arrogant when I say, but I can assure you, there would be no Marikana if one was there. Maybe let's take this one. I don't know. I'm not defending Cyril on this one. But I don't know. Cyril was the member of the ANC, was not in government.
Yeah, that's
who's
what
the
I
president
said.
now. And then he speaks to the minister of police, as it happens even today. That people, they speak to the minister. And then the minister speaks to the national commissioner, and Marikana happens. But the focus up to this day is more on Cyril rather than the minister and the national commissioner that were there. I don't know how it changed to be that way. For me, I think, again, most of us were crying at the wrong funeral there. To say Cyril is maybe the letter that he wrote or the email, I don't know whether it was a letter.
Yeah,
or
that's
email.
where I'm going.
Yes, but
Yeah.
he wrote it to somebody that had to moderate it in terms of implementation. I don't think that the letter from Siri said, you go and shoot 34 people and die there. I don't think he said so. So I would love how it came about. Another very serious point about Marikana, all of us, we talk about 34 people. We don't talk about 10 people that died before that day, and brutally so. You know, the police that were killed there, and they were cut their manhood and all that kind of thing. We don't talk about that. But you want my opinion on the police shooting on that particular day. Let me give the story of the National Commissioner, who's almost 2 months in the job, and he surely has no understanding of the environment. Honorable Member, the operatives, the commanders, some of them, for sure, the person that was there, I think was Mawela, who was on the ORS, they went and briefed the National Commission and go to copies and sit on copies. He said, you go and fence that place, put the barbed wire, put the police inside. When the people come, put the tear gas on them. That's the first thing. Second thing you do, you go to the bus company and tell them to stop ferrying people there. And thirdly, have what you call disruptive arrest, those that were agitating and all that, do that thing. And as they left, he changed the whole plan. He told Commissioner Mbombo, who was the only female commissioner, provincial commissioner at the time, to say, you go and deal with them. You remember the morning statement that today is a D-Day. And that's how it came about. There were many ways of avoiding that kind of death. And it's unfortunate that it happens, and we must, as South Africans, stay with that blood stain for a very long time.
Former Minister, I know you're saying that you're not defending President Ramaphosa, and that we are, that our focus hasn't been on the minister and the national commissioner. But this is speaking exactly to the political interference, because he wasn't even in government at that time. He was a deputy minister of the ANC, and he was calling ministers. And he asked, and he said there must be pointed action. So we can't downplay that.
Was that deputy minister of the ANC?
Yeah, he was deputy minister of the ANC at that time.
No.
Oh, deputy, sorry,
No, he wasn't.
okay.
No, he wasn't.
Sorry, my bad. Deputy president of the ANC at that time.
No. Who was the deputy president of the country then?
I don't know who was.
Honorable Matthys, just hold a moment. Let me take Honorable Sangon.